Good morning and welcome to our Rummage Sale meeting here. So all of this started last year post Rummage Sale, and so me trying to volunteer at the Rummage Sale, I just never knew exactly what I should do. I walked in, I'm like, everybody's running around and doing lots of stuff, and I'm like, I didn't know. So anyway, I started looking at how everything was running, and I kind of came up with a crazy idea, and I kind of talked the committee into trying it for a couple of years to see if we can make it work. But we're going to bring you along with. But I thought we'd start with some stats, just some history of the Rummage Sale itself. So it started back in 2006. So this will be our 18th annual Rummage Sale, and we raise over $3,500 on average every year. We have raised over $67,000 since the inception of the sale. So for everybody who has helped, thank you with that. Our largest sale ever, the post-pandemic sale, when everyone had nothing to do but clean out their own closets, was in 2021. We raised over $8,600. So, but in recent years, it has taken 56 to 64 volunteers. Those are the numbers that we have from the last couple of years. Those are like all of the hands that are doing things around the sale. That is everything from the pre-planning, the setup of the actual space, the organizing of all of the donations that come in, the sale day volunteers, people who are helping with advertising and all that kind of stuff, and then all of the post cleanup, all of that, the distribution to all the other places where everything from our rummage sale goes. And we'll move on to our next.
As soon as I hit me. I'm hitting the return button,
Okay.
and it's saying no thank you.
We're trying.
Yeah, we're
Good presentation. Yay!
Yay!
I'm not sure why it changed, but it did.
Okay, all right. Here we go. So where do those funds go? So the sale was originally, I'm going to say the original creator is sitting right here in our midst, Nadine. I'm guessing you're probably the instigator, the originator of our sale. Is that accurate? No? Who started? Barb was. Okay. Okay. So, but it was started with CE, so the Christian Education Committee, and the initial purpose, the initial idea was that it's raising funds to purchase Bibles to give out to our kids. But now we are raising so many funds that we do share 25% of the funds with Green Team, and we give another 25% to Outreach, and we also make a yearly donation to SOS as well. So let's see what those funds are used for. So lots of things that those funds are used for, not just CE any longer. So these are all tangible things that we have purchased. We've contributed to the annual budget. This large television that you're looking at right now was also purchased with funds. The new microwave in the kitchen that actually cooks something, that is purchased with funds. It's helped with VBS, with Wi-Fi, office supply, everything.
Well, some of those things on that part of the
Yes.
list actually were taken away from.
I took those off. That would be the piano in the piano and the snowblower also. Okay, snowblower also came from sale. So that was an actually donated item that was salvaged from the sale. The piano that's in the handbell room came from the sale. The table and chairs in the library were items donated that came from the sale as well. So aside from actual monies being raised, we're also pulling usable things out, which is great. And we've used a lot of things that we collected also went to like the refugee families and things as well. So there's lots of that. So we're moving on. Trying to, yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure why it's.
There we go. Okay. There we go. So this year, our sale is happening the first weekend? No, technically the second weekend in June. Okay, I don't have an actual calendar up here, but we will be starting with setup, which means the gym, and so we're laying down tarps, we're putting on tables, all of that kind of stuff is happening on Tuesday. We will start accepting donations on Wednesday. And then our sale dates, we are going to have an evening sale this year. We have new signs printed. We did kind of a test run last year with kind of a friends and family, and this year we're going to open it up to everybody. So we have new signs printed that will have the evening sale listed Thursday night, 4 to 7, Friday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then Saturday will be our 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. That's our $2 a bag sale. And then all the cleanup happens after that. There we go. There we go. All right. So this is where it starts to get a little interesting. Our past organizing strategy. So we're looking at the gym out there. Donations would be brought to, this is the east door. Yes, is that what? Yeah, the east door of the gym around that little circle drive and dropped off there. So donations would be placed inside the gym or like waiting there, all the boxes and bags. We'd have all the tables and things set up. You as a volunteer, you're coming in and you're grabbing a bag or a box and you're going to open it up, and I'm going to walk all of these items to their individual places throughout the gym. Okay, so it's me. I'm looking at this one box and I'm distributing. Okay, so once all of those things are distributed, then the volunteers are walking through and we're going over each table to pull out specialty items, items that need to be repaired or a little bit of TLC, but maybe we can still sell them. Some people will find things that maybe shouldn't have been put out at all and they get let go of. We price things that don't match the, what is it? Default, thank you, default pricing. So we have default pricing on all the tables. So if an item is, we think is worth more than that, we will specialty price those things as well. So this is happening in I'm going to say this, in my opinion, it was a little haphazard and it felt like a lot of hands touching a lot of different stuff, a lot of different times. Okay, so it was kind of, there wasn't a systematic kind of way that this was happening. So, and it created a lot of work. We have a lot of volunteers and you guys put in tons of hours and we're so thankful for all of those. But I think we can use your time more efficiently and do a better job with that. So we're going to go into our new flow. So I have maybe I put the picture second so I can talk you through it first before you're all looking at the picture. But okay, so we are going to start using some more of our building. So at this point in the year, we're done with Sunday school. Handbells are wrapping up. We'll have access to that room as well. We are going to utilize I think it was formerly the 1-2 Sunday school room. It is now the music/preschool, or will be the music/preschool Sunday school room. The larger Sunday school room that is down in the education wing. Okay, so we're going to have people bring their donations to that far entrance over by the SOS doors. And we're going to pull them in and they're going to end up in that Sunday school room where we will have tables set up in an assembly line fashion. So now we have this sort space. So we've got 3-4 volunteers happening. Thank you for the graphic. So now we have a sort line up here in the Sunday school room. Several volunteers all on boxes, multiple people seeing what is coming in. That is the key. We have more eyes recognizing what is going to be valuable, what is not worth our time, things that could be pulled for online sales, things that need to be priced in a different way. So we are going to be pricing and pulling those things in that sort line, and then they will be distributed in that room. We will have bins and boxes of broad categories that are going to end up in the gym. I see your hand, Bruce. I'm going to keep.
I think you said drop off at the SOS doors. You mean
Yes.
the west doors, don't you?
Yeah.
The west, yes, sorry, yes, I know they have people that can, yes, the west entrance,
Our
yep.
SOS takes their intake.
Yeah, that's where they do their intake, so the far end of the hallway, that's the door, not the SOS main door, thank you. So in that Sunday school room, we are pre-sorting into broad categories, we are pricing anything that is not going to fall under the default pricing. We are pulling out specialty items that could be listed for online sales, and we are identifying things that need a little bit of TLC or help and could be refurbished a little bit before they go out on the floor, or we're looking at things and being a bit more particular about what we're putting out so that what we're putting out is worth our time and the money we're going to get back from it. Yes.
Question, when you have large pieces of furniture, that kind of,
Those have to be toted all the way.
No,
from that
no,
end?
furniture, okay, yep.
More on that in a moment.
More on that in a little bit, yes, yep.
So
So-
will you be throwing things that don't qualify from that point?
We will
Probably.
not necessarily be, anything that that will be deemed as garbage will be tossed. But we will also be setting aside things to be, I'm gonna call it pre-donated to Goodwill,
Mhm.
St. Vinny's.
And that'll
something,
happen in.
and that'll happen in that room, so that we're weeding out some of that bulk of stuff that ends up in the gym, okay? So we're kind of scaling back a little bit. That way, the things that are worth the people's money coming in, those are gonna stand out more because they're more visible on the table. So we're not quite as crowded with all of the stuff, okay? So all that's happening in there. So we're sorting into these broad categories. We're going to have, I gave you all names that we'll get to in a second, but so we have receiving, we have the sort line, we've got quality control, and now we're going into distribution. So we're going to take all of these bins and boxes of broad category sorted items, and they will be brought on carts. We'll have carts available, and we'll walk them into the gym, get them to their assigned tables. They've already been pre-sorted, they've already been pre-priced. We're just getting them on the tables and setting them out, and we'll reorganize those tables as we bring more things out as necessary. Okay, so we don't have to wander around the gym and find the stuff that still needs to be priced. Okay,
Can I ask
So-
you a question, Melissa? And
Yes.
maybe this will be later,
Yeah.
but when we come in to volunteer, will we be assigned to one of those places then? Is that what's gonna happen?
Yep.
Thank you.
okay, so these are our zones. We'll go back to zones really quick. So receiving, you are unloading those boxes, bringing them into the Sunday school room area, making sure that those boxes are getting into the sort line, keeping that flow going, and they have stuff to keep working on. You're going to move any empty boxes that we don't need. You'll take those into the gym and get those distributed under the tables because we use those for packing up for cleaning later. The sort line, you are unboxing and sorting those items, individually pricing as needed, placing them into those broad category bins. We'll have bins and other sturdy boxes that we'll reuse. We'll have them in like labeled spaces for all those big categories, and we'll get those set aside. Quality control, this is where we're going to pull out items that may be saleable but need a little bit of that TLC, things that are worth our time and looking into. This area I think will fall into the bell room once bells have wrapped up for they're still performing that last Sunday before we go. So we need to make sure they have access to that space. But once we've got that overflow bell room area, that's where we'll have some of that stuff. It'll be our online sales, all of that, those things that need to be fixed up a little bit before they head out to the floor. Then distribution, we've got those carts waiting. You're pulling those bins, you're emptying out where you need to, bringing them back, getting them back there for the sort line to keep filling up again as well.
Could I just jump in for a
Yes.
second here? As, a good question would be, well, why is there a need for change? And I think your dad Gil put it really well, is that items that come in are being handled many times
Mhm.
before they actually get sold and go home with somebody. And the goal is to work smarter, not harder, and to have every item that comes in just handled the one time, and then hopefully bought and paid for and sent to its new home. So that would hopefully take care of that.
Yeah.
And then also, we want to, as far as being a little pickier about items, we want to make sure that the dignity piece is in place, so that when people come and shop at our rummage sale, and if they truly need to buy, 50-cent clothing, that they're not buying car wash rags. We want to make sure that the dignity piece is intact, that there's things that are worth having, that haven't gone through a family of 6 and all the formula stains and everything, and really shouldn't be out on the table. So we're going to be a little bit pickier for that
Yep.
reason.
And that's something that we're going to empower our volunteers to make those decisions. There was, I felt as I was volunteering, like, I can't throw anything away. Like who's in charge? Like, am I allowed to just kind of let something go? And we want our volunteers to feel empowered to help make those decisions, and what is worth going out in our sale, what can be pre-donated. Maybe it's not great here, but maybe somebody would want it and we can let it go, and what's really just done, and we'll let that go.
Just a quick question, maybe
Yes.
kind of foolish question, but
Mhm.
we've gone to a lot of garage sales and you go around and you see what people are putting out at times and you wonder why it is.
Yeah.
The question is, if somebody brings something to the door
Mhm.
and you see at that point that that item is not worthy, can
Where-
you tell that person, no, take it home? Why should we be the ones to dispose of it?
Most of the items that are gonna come in are gonna be in boxes and bags, and we're gonna have to sort
Right.
through those
But if you
individually.
see something that comes.
Yeah, yeah. I think,
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Well,
And
Yeah.
it's putting a lot of pressure on the people here to dispose of things.
yeah,
That's true, but I don't think we want to be in the position of turning away something. And if someone in good faith brings something to donate to the sale, then I think that,
we want to be, we want to be respectful of their donation.
I
And
understand
you'll
that.
have the list of things that you can't accept anyway, so then you
Yes,
can
yeah.
just say, sorry, we can't accept
If,
that.
yeah, if it's one of our, I call them the no-no list. If there's something that we really can't take, then for sure. If it's something that's just in kind of questionable condition, then I think,
well, some things just need to be washed. And
Right.
if
So
it
there's
just
that
needs to
too.
Go through the
Yeah.
laundry.
There's stuff that's been sitting in somebody's garage for 25 years
Yeah.
and it's
just needs a
great,
cleanup.
but it's
Yeah.
covered in dust.
Yeah.
But,
So,
and Melissa, we
yes.
did talk in our meeting too
Yeah.
about sometimes people are bringing things when they're closing down a parent's house and whatever,
Mhm.
and that something has meaning to them,
Yeah.
and we don't want. them
Yeah, we
doing
don't want, we don't want to be
illegal.
disrespectful of that if they're, so,
We'll bite the bullet
Yep.
and work
yes,
with it.
yep,
Sensitively handled.
yes. We'll make those on a case-by-case basis. Yep, go ahead. So, big items that we cannot accept for donations. So tube TVs, computers, the monitors, towers, printers, large appliances, mattresses and box springs. Headboard and football board will be by approval only, and that falls into our furniture category. All furniture needs to be seen and approved by the committee first. So we have people that are willing to go to places and take a look at furniture, but we've been stuck with some really bad couches, you guys. We didn't sell any beds last year. There's a lot of stuff left over, and we would like to see those pieces before they get brought in. So, and all of that furniture will come directly to, once it's been approved, it can come right into the gym, which is why that furniture will still be brought to the gym door entrance. So, because it'll all be pre-approved before it gets here. Fingers crossed. There's always the exceptions, so we'll do our best with those. But so
Can I ask one? Okay.
yes,
So, will there always be someone from the committee
Mhm.
who's here so that if a piece of furniture shows up, we can say, hang on, or that there will be some way kind of to know at the door?
that is the plan. As far as the volunteer schedule goes, that there will be somebody from the committee here. And our hope is that people who know they want to get rid of these large pieces of furniture will contact us, and we'll be putting a call out for those things. You know, hey, if you have a sofa that you're considering donating to the rummage sale, let us know, because we need to see it first, and we'll be pre-arranging those things so that we can take care of that.
Especially with it being a change, I
Yes.
anticipate that there's going to be
Yes,
a learning
there's-
curve.
there is going to be a learning curve
We
for
just wanna
sure.
Make sure that
Yes.
we've got access to the right people.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Yep. So we also had a discussion about fine china. It never goes anywhere. So our general rule is going to be things that are dishwasher safe, please. So let's keep the fine
You
china.
don't- What has happened to the fine china? in
It
the
just,
past?
it doesn't sell.
Then you donate it.
And yes, so we end up hauling in heavy china and hauling out heavy china. So we'd rather just not have it
Although
come
China
in.
is kind of Nadine's point when
Yeah.
you're cleaning out your grandmother's house.
It does.
It means something to me, even though I know it's
Yeah.
not gonna sell. I can't throw it away
I know.
because it was my grandmother's, so
I
I'm
know.
gonna take it to church so they can get rid of it. I mean, you know, that's that kind of thing.
I know.
It's right.
So it may still come in, but we're going to discourage it.
Deal with it.
Yeah, we'll deal with it if it shows up, but we are going to discourage it. So, Christmas trees over 4 feet, they don't sell. So we're just not, and last year, a couple of them are ours. So, but they don't go anywhere. I think they ended up, did they go to Vinnie's? Does Vinnie's take them? I don't remember where they ended up going, but we're just not gonna, and large exercise equipment, nobody wants to haul in a treadmill. Let's not go there. So, yes.
What about things that we get copious amounts of, which would be books and CDs? Last year we had I don't know, 1,000 CDs, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah.
It was just, are you looking at trying to control that a little bit?
Unfortunately, those are the kinds of categories we really can't. I think we, as volunteers, you guys will be empowered to kind of weed some of that stuff out. You know, if you get a VHS tape that's like half hanging out of its thing, then, you know, let it go.
Yeah.
But we can't really, those are the kinds of things that we can't.
Barb did send an email to me, which is inaccessible right now, but
Mhm.
anyway, that some VHS tapes are coming back in value, so.
They are,
you
yep,
know,
they're
if-
becoming
if it's a
collectible
Disney
again,
one
yeah.
or something like that,
Yeah.
we might have to think about, which is another day for another discussion.
Yes,
Of delineating which ones we
Yes.
might wanna
Yeah.
be careful
yeah,
of.
Mom?
When I worked with organizing a lot of that stuff, and there were a lot of tapes that came in that had no labels on them.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
tossed them.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, they need to be, if they are a movie,
Mhm.
preferably, PG.
Yeah.
Something like
Yeah.
that. They can't have unmarked
Yes,
stuff.
yeah, yeah, everything needs to be firmly labeled. Jerry?
Another thing that we are going to try to do with a sorting, probably in that room, is Finney's, you may not know, has fiber recycling. And I went in and talked to them about how that works. And so, like, if you get in something that's stained or dirty or torn, and Melissa said, well, there'll be big boxes for it to go. But if, don't throw it in the garbage, throw it in one of these boxes and it'll go to Goodwill. And they will, they ship that all to some place. It usually often goes even overseas. And it's what they told me. And so you may not have any use for it. We don't have any use for it. But if it's fiber,
Yeah.
it can be recycled in another way. I mean, you probably have all bought a piece of clothing, and it has a padded lining, and it will say, this lining is made of recycled fiber. And that's where it goes.
Yep.
So, but just be aware of that you won't just, even though it's grungy, you don't just throw it in the garbage. We'll try to recycle it.
Yep.
And to be clear, is that Goodwill or Benny?
That is at Goodwill.
Okay.
Thank you, Jerry. Yep.
My stuff is
Yep, go ahead.
really ragged.
All right.
Yeah.
So this will lead us into other volunteer opportunities. So I'll talk first about the volunteer categories that you have. When we have our volunteers sign up, we will have those different areas for you to, I don't know if we'll do we haven't written an actual volunteer sign up sheet. So I don't know that you'll be picking your specific area, but when you're here, we will have a shift manager that will kind of keep people where we need them to go. Okay. So my dad works in manufacturing, so all of these terms are like, it's what I'm thinking of. So anyway, so we'll be able to kind of assign you to an area, to a task when you come in. So you're going to know, I'm working on the sort line today. I'm going through those boxes. I'm working in distribution today. I am, taking stuff into the gym. You're going to have kind of a specific task when you come in. It won't be quite as much wandering around the gym, which is what I personally felt like when I was coming to volunteer. I just felt lost. I needed more direction with it. So I hope this helps with that. But we have other volunteers opportunity as well, aside from the receiving and sorting and distribution. So advertising. So a lot of this advertising happens from the committee itself, but we will be looking for volunteers to help getting yard signs out and we're going to do a flyer this year for community bulletin boards. So if you know of a space around town, or you can take one to your place of business or someplace where you go and you can get something posted for us, that would help greatly. So setup day, this is usually kind of a hand-selected team, mainly because my dad, who's a little picky about that, is in charge of it. So, but that will involve putting down tarps, setting up tables. We'll also be setting up in the Sunday school room as well, getting those tables in bins and boxes and all that kind of stuff. But we'll also need help with doing, we have our pricing cart that we use that was always in the gym. We're still going to need all of those supplies. We'll need help with people like stocking the kitchen for us. We're still going to need those kitchen supplies for those long days while we're here as well. And then online sale. Yes, Darlene.
Are you talking about the food?
Yeah.
Green Team has always kind of picked that up.
Okay.
Pretty
That's
sure
good.
we'll pick
Yep.
that up again.
Awesome.
Except it's food before is what we're talking.
Before the
Right,
before the
so-
sale. Yeah.
Sandwiches during.
Yeah.
Maybe we can.
But that's where she.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Maybe
talking
we
about.
can
But
talk
yeah,
about that
Yep.
at our meeting on
Yep.
Thursday.
we'll figure it out.
Melissa, I
Yes.
was wondering about where would you take like garden tools, garden art,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of stuff?
To start with, they'll come to the front door there, and then if it's something that can come through the sort line, we'll take it that direction and get it priced appropriately. If it's something like, you've got a big, I don't know, fountain or something, or, yeah, if it's really, really outdoorsy, we'll probably have you pull it back around over by the courtyard area and get it into where it normally goes. So the gym setup, where everything goes within the gym and around the actual sale itself is remaining the same. So we'll have the long tables for stuff. We'll have the round tables for clothing. We'll have the furniture area. We'll have the outside area for outdoor things, etc. So that'll all still remain. Yep. So online sales, and I'm just going to breeze past that because Lisa is going to tell you where you can help with that in just a second. On sale day, we need checkout and bagging help, assisting shoppers out to their cars with bags, answering any questions, pointing them in the direction of something, and then cleanup. We always need lots of hands at cleanup, get everything boxed. We have several locations where things get sent to, so we pull certain things, and then it's having that stream of trailers coming through that we can load up, and hopefully no rain this year. So anyway, so I think that's my last slide. Yeah, so before Lisa is going to take us into a little behind the scenes on how online sales happen. Are there any other questions before we move into that section about how the new process is going to flow, about volunteer opportunities, anything like that? Did we get them all? Okay. Is everybody pumped?
All right, so there we go. So I'm just gonna let you ask questions while I get my, my part going here. So talk amongst yourselves.
Are you gonna, I have a question.
Yes.
That map that you had in the beginning, is that gonna be somewhere for all of, like, I only saw it just for a flash
Yes.
up on the screen there?
Yep.
Is that gonna?
It certainly can be. This was a 3-second drawing that I did myself, so we certainly
Lovely.
can. Thank you.
Like, color-coded and-
We will have, we can
kind
certainly
of
have something posted. Yeah, we can post some stuff down in the wing. Tracy.
I think if there's a list that says, okay, Tracy, you're in distribution and Darlene, you're in whatever.
Yeah.
And then that is next to it.
Yep.
Then it's clear that
Yeah.
this is me, this is what I'm doing, this
I'm
is where
thinking
I'm
maybe
going.
whiteboards coming into play where we assign tasks as people are coming in, and those little, anybody have those little buttons at their place of work and you're in the office, out of the office? I had one of those once. That was fun. Yes, Nadine.
Comment I want to make, we are going to be firm as to when donations can be dropped
Yes,
off.
that is key. Yeah.
We have to work around the intake of SOS.
Yes.
Okay.
So when we say this day will take until noon,
Yes.
that's it. Because SOS goes from 12:30 to
Yeah.
3:30 or 4:30.
Yeah, we
on
need to be
Thursday.
very mindful of SOS's customers that are coming through those doors all the time. That is a meeting that I'm having with Shannon hopefully this week. So, but we will be working with them so that we are receiving donations when they are closed, so that we are not interfering with their customers at all. We will be borrowing their doorbell so that people can ring from that end. If we've got people in the sorting area working on stuff, they can ring the doorbell and we can pop out and get their receiving and that kind of stuff. So, yes.
And then
Darlene.
once you put out the call for like furniture,
Mhm.
if you have, like, I have something that I wanna, it's a big thing and there's no way I can do it, will
Mhm.
someone come and look at it and also help transport it?
I don't know about transportation. I know we're gonna come look at it. I don't know what we've done in the past,
We
Nadine.
need volunteers to help with
Okay.
transportation.
It's a good volunteer category.
Sure,
To
yeah.
help haul
Lifting.
furniture.
Mhm.
People who have a
Lifting furniture.
trailer,
Okay.
Yeah, we've always had somebody during the week that has a trailer available.
Yep.
Okay,
And so we've kind of shifted it when Pam got a call or something about, somebody being picked up.
Okay.
Yep.
We
Yeah,
shifted
that's a
it.
great category to add.
okay. Any other questions before Lisa takes over?
Just the right amount of questions, because it took me that long to figure out how to switch over.
All right.
Let's fill
Okay,
in for you, Lisa.
So, if you turn pages for me when I get that far. So anyway, last year, we started listing things online, I think 2 years ago. And last year, I want to say that we made close to $600 with online sales. And some of the donations that came in, there was one beautiful little piece of pottery that looked really unassuming, but it was by a very highly sought after Southwestern artist, and it earned over $500.
Cool.
And there was another thing that actually Dave spotted on the.
I spotted it first, but
Okay.
I passed it by.
And it was not pretty, but
I
luckily
remember that.
Dave he's been humoring me with my love of thrifting, and so he recognized some of the things for it. And that went for $75. We had it on a eBay auction, and it sold within, I think, a half an hour. It went really quickly. It's a highly collectible thing. So before I get into any details about this, how I look for potentially valuable items, I have to offer a disclaimer that this is just based on my love of thrifting, and I did do a lot of eBay selling. I'm not an expert by any definition, but this is what I've learned over my experiences. So anything I offer is just a suggestion to get started. And I think the down button will do this thing. Okay? So what do you look for? If you're going through, you're looking through stuff, trust your gut. If something looks like it could be special, take a minute to dig a little bit deeper. Things that I would look for would be things with brand names or advertising logos. This ugly piece, it was from French Lick Springs, Indiana, and it was a little devil thing, and it was Pluto water. Back in the early part of the century, this uranium water that bubbled out of the earth, and it was used to cure constipation, and it was a big thing. And it was a whole thing there, and this was an advertising piece, almost 100-year-old advertising piece, and it paid off for us. So anything you see with brand names or advertising logos, especially if they look old, but things like Starbucks cups can be very collectible. So if you see something, now not Darlene's paper one, but but once they have their special edition, stuff like that, those can really
And they go
add up.
high.
Yeah. Things that are mid-century or earlier, meaning 1960s and older, that are in excellent condition. Things that are in their original packaging that are obviously old. Things that have original signatures, like those ceramic pieces of artwork that I saw earlier, or any artwork or sports items, anything that has an original signature. Replicas, not so much, but things that have original signatures. Maybe numbered collector items. A couple of years ago, we had some Lennox butterflies that came through. And those are, not everybody collects them, but some people do. And they weren't a gold mine, but we're definitely worth our while for putting them on Marketplace. Maybe clear glass that has sharply cut patterns and is heavy. Some things that are from grandma's collection, that lead crystal stuff, but it would be noticeably heavy. And would really almost cut your fingers on the edges that are the edges for that. And one thing, oh no, I think it's on the next slide. Go ahead and turn to the next one. So what are not likely to sell for a high price? Sets of china dishes. I love china. I love china and crystal, but I'm in the minority, and there's only so much space.
I love China.
I know, it's an awesome thing, but the next generations, they're minimal, they don't want to take up the space for it.
There's also a lot of fear of lead and a lot of those things, so
That's
a lot
true.
of us don't want that.
There
just
you
in
go.
case.
So sets of china dishes, we're not going to get a high price for. Stemmed glassware is not likely to get a high price, but look for a manufacturer's mark, because sometimes, yes. So if you're when in doubt, look for a mark and see if you can find something. Anything that's in poor condition, if it's got a lot of wear to it, a lot of wear and tear, if it's damaged or if it's dirty, marked. We found a game, some item at St. Vincent de Paul that was in it was maybe 50 to 60 years old, original box, and they had written the price on Sharpie on the top of it.
Oh.
That was the end of that. So if it's got markings on it, that takes care of any value on that. Replicas or reproductions, it can be hard to tell, but trust your gut, do a little research. But the replicas and reproductions are not likely to do a lot. Just because something is old doesn't mean it's valuable. Sometimes stuff is just old. And that doesn't mean, just because it survived.
You might have hurt some feelings.
Present company. But yeah, sometimes you're like, this is really cool, it's really old. Yep, but not necessarily, so. So, you're sorting, you're in the sort line, or you're in your own home. Something caught my eye, now what do? Well, you start to search for it online. That's a huge resource, is just get online and see what you can find. Start with a Google image search and just describe the piece as best you can. Just, what does this look like? And I've got some examples that are following. To get the best match, you're going to want to look for manufacturing markings on the item, like the date, like a brand name, anything that sets it apart, anything that's searchable. A style number. Copyright date isn't necessarily the same as a manufacture date. And what I mean by that is last year we had a little Peanuts lunchbox. And it was like, oh boy, this is really going to be worth something. And it said copyright 1955 or whatever, but it was made in the 90s. And I noticed some people that's plenty old, but not for what we're talking about. So the copyright was old, but the item was much newer. And so cool, but not valuable. Once you start finding comparable items for what in your digging process, use the results to just dig farther, to keep going. It might take 3 or 4 searches to really get what you really want, because as you learn, as you look it up, oh, I didn't know that about it, there's something, and then you get more things to go. And it's quite a rabbit hole you can go down. Hours pass by very quickly while you're doing things, searching for things. And keep in mind condition. So if it has reasonable signs of wear, that's fine, but if it's chipped or worn or torn, that really is not going to have much value.
Question?
So, yeah.
Because of the length of time it's gonna take for the person posting these items and that, my understanding is that part of the sale goes on after the 8th of June.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, right, because otherwise.
Starts before too.
It starts as soon as we get something. Oh. Because I've been doing this by myself, and I think once you see the process of it, you'll see why I'm saying, please help. There's just a lot of things that come through, and as soon as we identify it, I list it right away. So I think the things that we can talk. But
I noticed, maybe this is on your next slide, but your phone has wonderful little, is this on your next slide?
We're getting
the
there.
little camera thing?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Because it'll save you some of this stuff.
Well, this is like step 1, and then once you kind of understand it, you're a teacher, so you have to understand the process.
Yes,
and then
okay.
Okay, so
Another question. Maybe
Yeah.
you'll answer this too, but is there a certain value that you want to make sure something has? That's coming. Thank you.
So if you don't even know what to call it, we had an item in last year, nobody even knew what it was. It was heavy, it was made out of cast iron, and it had a crank on it. No one even knew what it was. But anyway, if you don't even know where to start, use an app called Google Lens. And if you're already familiar with it, it's just a wonderful tool. It might not lead you directly to exactly what you're looking for, but it'll at least give you some terms to search, and it's in the App Store.
But that is also, is that the same as that eBay camp? Because
that's similar to it.
Okay.
That's in the last slide, darling.
Okay.
So anyway, but that's
I don't
really,
like Google.
it's a handy nifty thing for that, just to start describing things. Okay, so you've gotten this far, you've got to eBay, and I found one like it. What do I do now? Check how much it has sold for. Not the listing prices, because you need to look at the actual sale price. Because I could take this notebook, and if I wanted to, I can list this on eBay for $50. No one's going to stop me. It doesn't mean it's worth $50, but I can list it for any price I want. So instead of checking what it's listed for, you have to check what it's sold for. Any piece, anywhere, the only value it has is what someone is willing to pay for it. And so if you can ask a huge price, but if they're not willing to pay for it, then that's not the value. If it has sold at least once for $50 or more, you're going to want to set it aside for an online sale. Write down everything you found out in your rabbit hole journey, and that way I or someone else can list it accurately. If that trending online sale price is 20 to 50, put it in the rummage sale, but a little higher price. If the trending online sale price is less than 20, they can just order it at the rummage sale, and someone can get a treasure. And then I have some examples for what I'm talking about. Okay, so I dug around in my house and found a couple of things that might make good examples. So
That, is that going in the rummage sale?
So here we have a nice little sugar bowl, and it looks old, which it is, and it's in excellent condition. It has no manufacturer's marking on the bottom or anywhere else. Just there it is, and so go ahead.
Move on.
Yes, please. So I'm starting with a Google search, and this is like the long way, but if you do Google image search, and I described it as old blue sugar bowl ridges, just because those are whatever. And then the Google image search pulled up these things and didn't really find anything that I thought was a real good match. So nothing much turned up here. So I did a Google Lens search. This is sort of what Darlene is talking about. You can see what my phone screen looks like. I've got that. So anyway, if you get Google Lens, you get this little camera thing there in your search bar. That's where you're going to search with. So from there, you take a photo of your item with Google Lens, and you can see things are starting to come up. And some possible matches come up. You scroll around till you find something pretty close. And as I'm looking at those, oh, look at that, Periwinkle Hazel Atlas. So Hazel Atlas is the brand name. That I knew that because I had a whole bunch of them. But if you didn't know that before, now you've got another clue to work with. And now you've got some things to keep digging. Click on the close matches, use the results to learn additional search terms. You're following a path. Now you're on eBay. And so you're going to take this, and I put in Hazel Atlas Sugar Bowl, and going to search around, scroll up and down till I find something that's comparable. There are a lot of sugar bowls on eBay. This one's pretty close. It's a pink one, but it's the same general shape, and I'm not too encouraged because it's only being asked for $3.50. But that's not the end of the world, because you need to use the sold price, not what someone's asking for it. So up there, it's kind of behind my little box up there, but advanced search is up in the corner. Click on that, and you're going to use the advanced search to find out what the sold items are. Active listings aren't accurate. Oh, that's my, so go back. There we go.
Okay.
So this is, if I look in the sold items, this is what similar items have sold for. So scrolling around, it shows me that this is not particularly valuable. It's cool, but it's not going to sell for a lot of money. So this would go into the rummage sale.
$11, darling.
Oh,
Yeah.
$3.50.
So
similar.
any questions on that so far? The main part of that is when you go on eBay is you want to search the sold listing to find out what value did someone place on it that they were willing to spend. Okay? Yeah.
I see that Kay is taking notes, which I would be doing the same thing, except I know that this video is available.
This,
That
we will
you
make
could
this
send
available.
it
Yep.
to- I got it. You got it. What are you doing there, girl?
So I was digging
Because I
around
did
my
not know
house to
about the
find.
souls, where it was.
Oh, so I was digging around my house, finding some other things to use for examples, and this is a lovely vase that I found at Goodwill that's in my bathroom right now. And this is my pink vase. It is in excellent condition, unusual because it's 22 inches tall. And a Google Lens search identifies it as manufactured by the L.E. Smith Company, so that gives me something to search for. So when I search for it, I go on eBay.
Ooh,
That looks pretty close. Blue, but it's close. And when I scroll down, that's where things get interesting, is someone's asking $450 for it. But asking price doesn't mean much because it's just what someone's willing to pay for it. You can put any price on anything. So looking in the sold listings, it's still looking pretty good. Still looking good. So if I wanted to sell that vase, I would put it on an auction and I would start the auction at $300. And maybe I would get it, maybe I wouldn't. But if I didn't get a lot of response, then I would adjust my price depending on the response I got from it. I don't want to sell it. No, that's it's one of my favorite things. So then it really is fascinating to search for items online. It's I call it a rabbit hole, and it really is. You can waste a lot of time just really looking up things, and I've learned so much about so many just items that are fascinating, and following up on the clues to identify things. Always the most important aspect is condition, because if it's not in good condition, you're done. For rummage sale purposes, trash is probably trash. And if somebody really wants to recondition something, well, then that's on them to do that. But for our purposes, we want things that are ready to go, no matter what it once was. So there are ways of using photos to search eBay. This is what Darlene's talking about, that only work in the app. So I'm not able to show that to you on this thing right here. But what you can do is if you go on the eBay app, and if you just go to the search bar, there's that little camera icon that looks a lot like the Google Lens thing. Just tap that, take a picture of it, and it'll cut to the chase and get some similar things up. So if you have the eBay app, that will be helpful for that.
You can do that on Amazon also, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So I would love to have some help with this particular aspect of the rummage sale, because especially last year after we had some really great success, we were treasure hunting, and then it turned into a really big pile in the Sunday school room. And while that's great news, and I really wanted to get a lot of sales from that, it's just a little much for one person to do, because each thing takes 15 to 20 minutes for each item to really thoroughly get a good handle on what you're looking for. So, yeah.
So when someone has something and we do the research in that and we come up with what seems to be a reasonable price, are you going to take the giver's word, or
I can figure out the price and stuff. What I'm looking for help on, mostly Sarah, is just, is it worth digging deeper, or should it just go?
In the
And
rummage
then
sale,
should it just go in the rummage sale? Right, so if, it's the legwork that I'm looking for help with, and then, but if anyone wants to help me list, and the question came up earlier too, is listing. Most things, I put on Marketplace, Facebook Marketplace, and are sold locally. Had some good success with that, but the things that we think really need a wider audience, I'll put them on eBay. But I'll take care of the listing, but I will help anybody. I will show anybody how to do it, and I welcome anybody who would like to work with me on that. But mostly what I'm looking for is that screening, the researching and the screening, to find out does this just look cool, or is it really something that we can give it?
It's one of the things I'm really interested in, so you can write me down as someone who will help you with
and
that.
you have my name, right?
Yes, I already. So my phone number is right there, and then like Kathy was saying, we can make this, I'd be happy to make this available to anybody. We could probably put a link to that in the e-blast. Would probably be in Melissa's presentation as well. So that if anybody, and whether or not you're involved in the rummage sale, maybe you've just got something at home and you think, oh, that's something. And before you just take it to Goodwill and give somebody else a treasure, maybe you want to hang on to the treasure for yourself. So, yeah.
What's the minimum price that you're considering valuable enough to list this way?
I think that if it's, to go on eBay, 50 or over. Yeah, and then if it's like if the trending eBay sale or price is like 20 to 50, then we'll put it in the sale, but maybe put $10 on it rather than, just a household wares price or whatever.
Or if it's like an antique chair, then something like Marketplace, we got to take shipping into consideration for some of the things too, a cast iron thing or something that's going to be hard to.
He came and got that though.
Right, well, that was a local thing, so that was,
And he was excited.
they're talking about a big roaster that was in the kitchen, a cast aluminum roaster, and that sold for $75.
Was that the Magnolite?
Yeah, it was a Magnolite, a big Magnolite cast aluminum roaster. Yeah. So if this is something that you would like to be involved with and help me out with, I would welcome any and all help. I will be happy to go into more detail and show you how to list and you can do some practice digging or whatever. But anybody have any questions on?
I like to include some of these special stories in the news magazine. And if something comes up that, you know, has some really human interest or a touching aspect to it, snag a photo.
We'll make a note.
Of the little devil guy that you sold?
You know, and I
Take a picture of it?
eBay just keeps things
Yeah.
for a
Geological
year, or for, no, it must be
implications
less
are
than that,
get a
because I
bonus.
can't find a picture of that from the sale, so it's thought, because that, talk about something looking unassuming, it looked
So
unassuming.
weird.
Yeah, and it, what do you know, so.
Would, I don't know, if it's in the newsletter, you want somebody that donated something, hey, we got $500 for it, and you just gave it to us.
If it's a special story.
You know, I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey,
you might get,
I need some
want a
kickback here.
kickback.
Well, right, because there are,
Donated, Shirley Thompson painting
Yes,
some years
yeah.
ago.
And last year you did have that roaster
Mhm.
in the newsletter, yeah.
Something to consider.
so, if you would like to share your name with me today as someone who might be interested in, I'll get Darlene and I'll get Tracy, but if you'd like to be in touch about this, I would love to write down your name in Melissa's notebook, because I didn't bring a notebook.
I had a little.
You have a whole
From last year, I know we had a ton of Christmas stuff. And I was looking through it, and I belong to this group on Facebook, and these people buy vintage 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. As people, should you be cleaning out someone's house, one of the biggest selling items, shiny bright ornaments, very popular, 40s, 50s, 60s, and with the original boxes. We had them sitting on the table, they were marked $1, and I went through and paid $5. I knew, you know, they're not worth, you know, $85, but, and I'm sure that I saw some of that on eBay, and it was being listed at $15 to $20 to $25 a box. Even empty shiny bright boxes go for $25.
Holy cow. Any of that mid-century in good condition
Yeah.
stuff, original packaging stuff,
And,
that's.
and that's the kind of stuff that, and I went and, contacted that group. I said, if anybody happens to be in the, you know, Marshfield area, I've seen it, I know it's there. And, but actually, you know, they came in and they loaded everything up and took it and knew exactly what they were looking for. The ones that didn't sell were from our old trees. Because they, you know, weren't.
Well, I think there's kind of a dead spot. You know, there's stuff that's old and vintage and collectible, and then the stuff that's brand new and unused, and the stuff that's just, you know,
Just old.
just
Yeah.
old.
Yeah.
Used, and that's
Craft.
not really, yeah, and
People
it's,
craft with that stuff.
right, and it's just,
Yeah, but, you know, some of that stuff, I'm not saying that you want to put it on eBay or anything. I'm just saying, you know, maybe if you see this whole thing of ornaments or whatever.
right, that would be, that's a perfect example of one of these things, that you want to put it out there in the sale, but not for a quarter on
Yeah,
the table.
don't give
So
it away
should
for
be
a buck or,
a couple of bucks.
whatever, so.
Anything else?
I just want you to know this mug on eBay is worth $22.
There you go.
It's not sold for that. They're
I was just
asking
gonna
that.
say, yeah, it's been sold.
I couldn't find that. I can't find that
Nobody
link.
sold it.